Yep. Good morning, everyone. So, last session we learned about how to handle API requests. Uh, Two methods we learned: how to use XML HTTP requests. Another one is fetch method. So, three basic important things is how we can connect with APIs, connecting with remote files, or you can say APIs. For that, what we have done means you can simply say that you are making AJAX calls, working with AJAX call. In that, what is the first method? XML, HTTP request. Another, we learned about fetch. These are the two important JavaScript methods. What is the difference between XML, HTTP, and fetch? XML HTTP is it is not asynchronous by default. It is synchronous. Fetch is asynchronous by default. And XML HTTP request, the response will be XML or response will be text or response will be HTML. Fetch always response is in a binary form. Always it is binary form, but it is asynchronous. Technically, what is fetch? Technically, fetch is a JavaScript promise. JavaScript promises. You learned about function callback promises. Fetch is a JavaScript promise. Next, important, we will see today another technique. Another technique is jQuery AJAX. Another technique is jQuery AJAX. So React can use jQuery AJAX methods to connect with remote API. React can use jQuery AJAX methods to connect with remote API. So what is good about this jQuery AJAX method is actually, so it is asynchronous by default. Another important is it returns data directly in the same format as it is defined in source. So it returns data directly in the same format as it is defined in source. That means it doesn't require parsing methods. It doesn't require parsing methods. So you are making request to JSON, then directly JSON will come. You are making request to HTML, response will be HTML. You are making request to HTML, response will be HTML, XML. So you don't need parsing methods. You don't need any parsing methods. Here, XML, HTTP, and fetch, both you have seen parsing. In both situations, you need parsing methods. But jQuery AJAX doesn't require. Another important is it provides it provides life cycle methods which can track the issues at various phases. So it provides life cycle methods which can track the issues at various phases. jQuery AJAX have life cycle methods. Life cycle methods means from request start to request end, so many phases will happen. Actually, AJAX lifecycle methods will be like AJAX start, like AJAX stop, like AJAX success, like AJAX failure. You can say error, like AJAX complete. Like this, different lifecycle methods are present. What is the advantage of these lifecycle methods is it can track exactly where the problem is, exactly where the problem is, right? One second. Yep. So we have these all life cycle methods advantages where issue occurred, it can track easily. That means you made a AJAX request. First, the AJAX request will start. After that, the AJAX request will be processed. After that, the AJAX request completes. During these phases, any technical issue occurred, it will track and it will show. That means what is advantage of these methods? It is good in error handling. It is good in error handling. So when compared to fetch and when compared to the XML HTTP, but remember any AJAX method finally have to use XML HTTP. That is the native of browser. These are developers' convenience. Native is always only one. What is it? XML HTTP, right? So jQuery AJAX also have some issues. What are the issues in jQuery AJAX is it is not good in handling CORS, that is a cross origin cross origin resource share. It is not good in handling CORS issues, cross origin resource sharing. So cross origin resource sharing, or resource sharing, already you learned in general JavaScript like concept. Actually, what is the concept of course is we have different types of requests. What are the requests we are having? Get, post, put, delete like options. Get is for fetching, post is for submitting, put is for modifying, and delete is for removing. We have so many other patch, purge, so many others. These are major. Now, what is the point is on a request, actually, when you are working with API, on this API, all actions are allowed. All these actions are allowed. But now, important is developer need to control these actions. I want user to fetch. I want user to post, but I don't want him to put and delete. So how do you prevent this? For that, you need CORS, cross origin resource sharing. By using CORS techniques, you can set up the request in such a way that we can decide which action he can perform, which he cannot. That means we can control the actions. So when data is coming from across origin, we can control the request methods. That is possible by using CORS. And jQuery Ajax don't have any CORS options. If it is not having any CORS options, then it cannot restrict. It will allow all to perform. That means it will allow get, post, put, delete. We can't restrict. Then we have to use alternative methods for restricting the techniques. That means either get or post, which one we should allow. For that, we need alternative techniques. So internally, there is no course related setting or course related option for jQuery SX. What is the advantage of having course options? We can control which request developer can handle. That means user can handle, whether only get, only post, we can control that. Later, when we create our own API, we will see this course. We will see how they can control the requests. They can manage the requests. But what is problem is it is not good in handling course. Not only that, so it is not good in cross-site request forgery. Cross-site request forgery. It is not good in cross-site request forgery. Cross-site request forgery is also related to security issues. Cross-site request forgery is nothing but any application can post data into your application. That is not good. That means any application can make a forgery of your application and they can post data into your application. This is also web related safety. But for example, suppose we are running our app. So here we are running the app. Let's say npm start. When we run the app, already we know it's a URL. Now what happens is somebody makes a forgery of that URL. That means what they can do is, suppose I am creating a index.html page. Means just doc type HTML head title. So some forgery and title close. And here I give an body head close body. Here I am keeping an anchor href. Here we are defining some link. You can navigate to any link, that is not a problem. But you can give a form. Form method is what? Post and or get something. Form action I can give here http colon double slash localhost colon 3000. Like this I am giving. Like this I am giving. And I am using username, and input type is equal to text. And here we define name as username. And we have a submit button and a submit. Remember, this is a complete separate HTML page. Let's end the form and the body and the HTML. See, I'm saving this HTML page on my PC, somewhere on my desktop. I will keep this as demo.html. Now, remember that demo.html doesn't belong to our website. It doesn't belong to our website. It belongs to some other app, some other application. And see now here through demo.page, I will open the demo.html. I'm opening this demo.html. It's a separate HTML page. Let's open that demo.html. You see from this page, I'm entering some username and I click on submit. Then it submits that to our website. You see how any another website can post data into our website. That is not correct. That is dangerous. This is request forgery. How you are allowing any another website to copy your URL and put it and post data into your site? These are security related issues. This is called request forgery. Is the demo.html belonging to our app? No, it is some other app. How it is posting and how you are allowing collecting it? That means your app should not allow anybody to post data like this. That's very important. This is called request forgery. Remember, web related lot of securities are present. When you are developing an application for web, so many security points are there. Generally, what learners think security means verifying user ID, password, authorization, logins. That is not security. Security means preventing your app from different types of attacks. So that means preventing your app from different types of hacking methods. Because what is the threat of app is once it goes live, several people can hack it. And if you can prevent your app from hacking, so then your app is safe. Not only just hacking, from robots, from hacking, everything. For that, lot of security features are required. In that, this is one concept. And generally, it is not good in cross-site request. jQuery Ajax don't have much features to control this. They don't internally have any feature to control. They will allow anybody to post from anywhere. So these are some concerns about jQuery. But when compared to Fetch, it is little better. Why? Because Fetch will return the data in binary form, but jQuery Ajax returns the data exactly in the format how it is. And little more better is jQuery Ajax have good error handling when compared to Fetch, but it is not great. Okay, when better compared to that. So let's see how to use this. Actually, syntactically, to use this jQuery Ajax. So generally jQuery Ajax methods, we have $.Ajax We have like dollar dot get JSON. Like this, we are having some AJAX methods. Usually what they do, dollar dot AJAX, and AJAX uses an object options actually. In the AJAX options, you have method and you have URL and you have success data, you have success uses a callback function, and we have error. These are general AJAX methods. This is the AJAX options basically. So actually jQuery library is imported by using dollar. The library is imported by using dollar. The complete jQuery library is present inside this dollar by using dollar. So what you have to do is jQuery is not directly available in your project. You have to install. So what you have to do, first step, install jQuery library for your React application. So you have to use npm install jQuery and save. That is the first thing you have to do. Install jQuery library for your application. Okay, let's go to our project here. In this project, last session, what we done? We created one products JSON file. This is the products JSON. In that we have data. We are accessing the data by using which method? Fetch. Now load products. I will remove this. We are storing the data in the products, right? Now I will remove this. Okay. Now you can see there is no data coming here. Refresh. Because there is no method for accessing. Now initially it is empty now. There is no data coming into that products. So let's make a call by using jQuery AJAX. For that, what we have to do first, we have to go to terminal. In one terminal already app is running. I opened another terminal here, npm install jQuery and save. We are installing the jQuery library for project. So that is the jQuery library here. Okay. Once jQuery is installed, we want to use jQuery in this component. We have to import the complete jQuery library. And generally jQuery library is present under the reference of dollar. So what you have to do, import dollar from the library is jQuery. Import dollar from jQuery. That means complete jQuery library related all functions are now accessible by using what? Dollar. By using this dollar reference, you can access. So let's go to load products. Here we are using dollar dot Ajax. That is the jQuery Ajax method. And in that, what are the Ajax options? First option is method. What is the method? We want to get the data from a file. So method name is what? Get. What is the URL? From where data is coming? Data is coming from which file? Products dot what? JSON. JSON file. After that, we have success. Success is a callback function. This function will get the response. Now on success, what is the response data you want to send? Actually, this response contains the data coming from this file. You saw the fetch method. Fetch method response is not directly the content of file. It is sent in a binary form, which you have to convert into JSON. But now the response is directly JSON. Just what you have to do, you have to send that into products, set products. Into that, what we need to send response. Whatever response comes, it will be stored inside products. That's it. Now I will save this. And if you want, you can add error. Error uses a callback function. It will track the error. XML, HTTP request error, something like that. You can use anything. That means it is going to track the issue. That means, so exception, you can say. And that exception I want to log. That means console.log. I will put the exception. That means what is the problem? What error method can do? It can track the issue and it can report the issue if there is any issue. As of now, you see now the data is Ajax, the data is coming fine. This time we are not using XML HTTP or we are not using fetch. We are using jQuery Ajax. Okay, let's do one thing. Inspect. In the inspect, let's go to console. And in the console, I will change the file name something wrong. Then you see now here, it is going to get the error and it will display. So that means it is saying that it cannot map and it cannot handle that. The error is nothing but here the error indicates that it is unable to get the data. Whatever the data is there from the product, it is unable to get the data. But still, it is not great in error. It is showing some issues, but not great in error. Say not great in security, not great in other security related issues. That is the reason what we do is instead of this, I'm using products. Again, the data is coming fine and it is going to display the data. So it is okay. It have life cycle methods, but it is not great in error handling. It is good, but it is not great in error handling because it doesn't have any error related separate library for tracking. That is the reason React developers are not even satisfied with this jQuery Ajax. React developers want more better. So React developers use some third parties. They don't use XML, HTTP, they don't use fetch, they don't use jQuery Ajax. They use some other third parties, which are little better than when compared to this. But as a developer, you should know all this because your technology background also depends. Sometimes your technology, your project says that we don't use any third parties. You have to fetch by using native methods. Then what you have to do? You have to use XML HTTP request or you have to use fetch. And sometimes some projects, because 90% entire web is designed with jQuery now. 90% entire web is already designed with jQuery. Several projects already using jQuery, like .NET, Java, PHP, and all this. When they are using jQuery, already their AJAX requests are in jQuery. In that case, they say that we are already having jQuery, you use jQuery on. Then you have to depend on jQuery. Otherwise, you have more better options. Let's see what are the more. So next point, what you have to do, import jQuery library. Import jQuery library into project, into component. So we have to use import dollar from jQuery. Then next step, configure jQuery AJAX request. $.AJAX. And the request will be like this. Method is get URL is products.json something. Success gets the response. And error will get the exception. This is a general get method. If you are using post or put like methods, then you need to send data also. For that, you need additionally data. Currently, we don't need data because we are using which method? Get. Get is for only for fetch. So that is jQuery AJAX method. So example, I will give this here. AJAX demo.what.js. I'll copy this. This is example for AJAX demo.js. Means same program what we done earlier. We are just changing this function logic. That function load products logic we are changing. In that first time XML, second time fetch, third time you have used jQuery AJAX. Next important, that means React developers are not satisfied with these. Currently you are learning only get. Later we will learn post, put, delete, how to handle all the operations. So you have third party AJAX library. So we have third party AJAX libraries will be there. So React app can plug in with the various third party libraries for AJAX, can plug in with various third party libraries for AJAX. Various third party libraries we can use. So different third-party libraries like you have like Axios. So what WG fetch? You have like Telerik. So many third parties are there. Axios, what WG fetch, Telerik. So you can note is you can search for third parties libraries in npm npmjs.com. That is the official Node Package Manager website. You can go there. You can search. Hundreds of third parties will be there. And it's not necessary that your company will be using only the same that you have learned, but all are similar. Some are almost same with attributes. Some are different. If you know one third party, another third party, you have to explore by yourself. You have to learn by yourself because we are not sure which one your company use. That's the reason you should able to explore any new thing if they are using. Actually, you see, this is the official website. Let's open the official website, npmjs.com, Node Package Manager official. Here you search for React API. So React fetch API like that. You can see hundreds of will come. You can see 405 packages found. Different third parties are there. So many will be there. So many will be there. You can use any of this. You can use any of this. But only the point is uh, every library may not be suitable for your type of requirement. You have to read their documentation, check are they matching with your requirement or not. So worldwide people mostly use that like what we have Axios. Axios is one and you can see this is Axios. And see it is a promise based HTTP client. That means promise based means by default it is asynchronous. And see some of the features what they say. Axios, you see some of the features they say about Axios. See what it makes. It will make XML HTTP request from browser. Without Axios, we used this directly. Without Axios, we use it. That means Axios is also using this. I told you already, everybody have to use this. But the point is, if you use this library, internally they manage several aspects, that means several features. Otherwise, you have to manually control everything. Okay. And see, supports promise. Promise means what? Asynchronous. Promises are by default asynchronous. And transform request and response data. That is good. That means it is going to convert the data that is coming and convert the data which is going. That means request data, response data, it can convert without using parsing methods. That's okay, good. It can cancel the request. That's very good. And automatically it will transform which one? JSON. And see, it have protecting against cross-site request forgery. That's very good. This is what issue we discussed, right? It protects from cross-site request forgery. That's very good. That means these are all concerns for developer. Why we choose third parties? Because third parties, they internally manage everything and they give a simple method for us. We have to just use that method. If you are not using third party, can't you handle security? You can, but it's a lengthy process. You have to manually write everything. That's the reason if somebody return for us, we will just import and use. So this is one important point. So actually more features are there. This Axios can make multiple requests at a time. At a time, it can make more than one request. In their features, they haven't mentioned that, but they have more features when compared to Fetch and when compared to jQuery AJAX. So that is the reason developers will use this very much. And the first thing is it supports all browsers because some AJAX methods are not supported by few browsers. Few browsers don't support them, but this is going to support all the browsers. That's important. So this is the third party. Let's see what are the points, means how to use this and how do we work with that. So we will see example of AJAX. So accessing API data with Axios. We will use this Axios. Here, first thing is Axios is promise based. Axios is promise based. So it is asynchronous by default. Asynchronous by default. Another important is it can transform request and response data. So parsing methods not required. So it is good in CORS and cross-site request forgery. CORS and cross-site request forgery. That means it is more secured. It is more secured. It is more secured. Another important, it can handle multiple requests simultaneously at the same time. It can handle multiple requests simultaneously at the same time. At the same time. Right. So these are some features and it is good in error handling. It have better error handling features when compared to jQuery AJAX. Now, syntactically, how we can use this? Actually, AJAX can use Axios.get, Axios.post, Axios.put, like that. all Axios methods are present. Axios dot delete. Like this, all Axios methods are present. And it is a promise based. Promise based means you know how to use. Promise based means how to use. So promise based means you know every promise contains a then and contains a catch and contains a final. Every promise have this get, post, put, delete, everyone have this. And one more important here is actually response is returned in complex format, in complex returned in complex format, which includes all response details. Response details like what status code, like status text, headers, data, all these comes under response. So it will get all the response details like so many. Status code, status text, headers, data, everything. Generally, other jQuery AJAX requests, they are returning only data, but this will return so many. Status codes means you know. Status codes means what? 200, 404, like that. What is status text for 200? 200 means okay. 404 means not found, like that. Headers means MIME type of data. That means what type of data is coming. XML, JSON, type of data you can know. Data is directly the data from source. So response have lot of details. That is the reason it is easy and it is good for error handling. So let's see how to use this one. Example, first you have to install Axios for React app. So npm install Axios. I is shortcut for install. You have to install this Axios. So let's see here. We will go to the project. npm install Axios. I is shortcut, Axios, and save. I'm installing Axios library here. After installing the Axios library, you have to import Axios. So import Axios into component. You have to use import Axios from Axios. You have to import Axios from Axios. So we will see here. Okay, let's remove the AJAX here. Okay, I am removing AJAX. No more jQuery I am using, empty. Now the data is also empty. There is no data. Okay, let's set up the Axios. Already we installed Axios. So we have to import Axios. So from Axios, we have to import Axios from Axios. After that, here we have to use axios.get method. From where data is coming, URL. URL is what? Products dot what? JSON. It's a promise. Promise usually contains what? Then uses a callback function, just roughly for clarity's sake. Then uses a callback function. This will get the response. And observe carefully, this response have lot of details: data, headers, status text. Response have so many details. What is data? The data present in the file. Do I need any conversion? Not required. If it is XML, data is XML. If it is HTML, data is HTML. JSON. Header means request type, data type is considered as header. Whenever you make a request anywhere, for example, you see here, you go to the network inspect. Let's go to the inspect here. I will remove this temporarily first. Okay. And you make here network category. In the network category, you refresh this once. You see the response is coming from lot of this. Actually, this is the response. Generally, here we are having various details, status codes. And usually what happens is when you open the status code, that means when you open that particular file, that means actually directly you open here, just select it. And you can see that here response headers will come. Response status code, response text, response headers. Header means what? It will tell what type of data is coming. Is it XML, HTML? What type of data are coming? Header contains lot of details. So what is the advantage of this is it will get more detailed information when compared to the previous. So how you do? Axios.get response. This response data we need to keep in set products. Set products, what I will do? Response dot what? Data. Only data. Actually, response have lot of details in that only data. Okay, let's write catch. Catch is also having an response. Okay, what this response will do? We will log the response. We will log response dot, or just we will log the response. What response is coming? Okay, you observe carefully now the data is coming. That means Axios is also working. Now I will go to the console. In the console, you see now here, suppose the products spelling wrong. And when the product spelling wrong, you can see that it returns 404 correctly. Previously, it was not having good. It is showing some error like map not working. But actually, the error was not related to map. Error was related to file not found. But now it is good. See, request failed with the status code 404. And see the Ajax errors. So it gives you detailed information about the error. So it is more better in error handling when compared to the jQuery and fetch and XML HTTP. And it is more safer also. Safer. It is not accessing the data, and you can see it is showing that error. Now it is fine. Suppose products.json. Now it is okay. Now you can refresh. You can see data is coming fine. So that is the point about Axios. So how do we make a Ajax request? Make Axios call. We have to just use Axios.get. The URL. URL is actually products.json. Then it's a callback function with response. We have the catch with a callback function. Response has some details like I will give. Response data, response status, response status text, response headers, like that. So console log, whatever the error is, exception is. Depends on what method you are using. Currently, we are using get. If it is post, if it is put, then we will send data also along with it. That you will see later. And actually, it can make multiple requests simultaneously at the same time. That's what one feature I showed you. Actual that feature. So this is example first I will give. Example is Ajax demo dot what JSX. This time we are using Axios. I'm using Axios and we are accessing the data. This is generally how we can handle the request. This is basic of Ajax. You can observe here, actually syntax also I will just give here. Multiple requests. So syntax here, multiple requests. Axios provides .get method with an array type syntax. What is that array type syntax? That means it can handle multiple requests. So it can use multiple requests. That means here one request, another request, like that. It can define multiple requests like an object. That means what is the point? You can have more than one request at a time. Usually it is not supported in others. You can make only one request, but it can create multiple requests and send the response. That's not required every time, but sometimes it is very important, because sometimes what we do, for example, we have categories. Categories is a table. We have products. Products is another table. Now in category, we have ID as one and the name is electronics. ID as two. Some name is some footwear. Now we have products. The products have a name, some TV, and its category is coming from that ID, which is a foreign key. That means there is a relationship. relationship between the products table and the categories table. That means the category ID is used as a foreign key inside the products. That means now what we do, we design one form. In this form, we will ask product name. That means here we say product name. Okay. In the second one, we will mention category name. But actually, what happens? Product name coming from one table, category name coming from another table. That means from two tables, we need to access the data and use in only one request. That means in single request, we have to fetch data from how many locations? We need to fetch the data from multiple locations. Then you need these kind of requests. This kind of requests. That's not required every time, but this is good. Handling multiple requests, how do you manage, right? So this is actual the concept of fetching data from API. So how many methods you have seen? So summary, we learned about XML, HTTP request, we learned about fetch promise. So we learned about jQuery AJAX methods, and we learned about Axios. So these are various techniques of communicating with the APIs. Till now, what we done, we have seen generally how we get the data from a JSON file. But now we will see how to get the data from live APIs. Actually, online you have so many APIs. We have to learn how to use those online APIs and handle the data, different types of data. For example, we have some websites like, suppose we have API NASA. This is NASA API website. This is NASA API website. What this NASA API website do is they provide data to developers for building apps related to science, technology, and space. If you are an app developer, you want to build some app related to space, science, and technology, whatever data you need for that, they will provide. That is the actual concept of this NASA API. So objective of this site is to make NASA data accessible to app developers. And actually, if you open this browse APIs, you see lot of APIs are there. These are all APIs. Now you see here, suppose Mars rover photos, and you click on this URL, it is going to get you the data. This is all the data that they have. And see the data coming in which format? It is in a JSON. What is the developer's responsibility? They have to present this data. That means data coming from some live, some weather APIs, or some shopping APIs, or some these APIs. Now what we will do is we will learn how to communicate with these API. We will create one example accessing data from any real live API and working with it. Our job is not just presenting. We have to do a lot of other manipulations also, like filtering, searching, such operations we need to perform in that. That we'll see next session, right? So tomorrow we will have session, right? In tomorrow's session, same timing, right? In tomorrow's session, we are going to learn how to work with a real live API. We will take a website. From that, we will try to build one interface. Tomorrow we'll continue with that. Okay, right. Already class code I given to you. Everybody joined the class code, right? All the classroom notes. If you don't regularly attend, you will miss that, right? So I already posted the class code previously. And if anybody not having the class code, I will, sir. Offline people, everyone have, right? If you have, then you can leave. So for online people, I will share that. Okay, tomorrow we'll continue.